Hey friends, it's Coach Roger here. You live younger, longer health coach. Hope everyone's doing well today. It's good to be back with you. We got a lot of things to talk about today. The title is Fix One Thing. We're going to get into that kind of in detail. But as you live younger, longer health coach, you know I want you to take charge of your health. That's what I'm here about, is to inspire you based on my story of where I've been and where I hope to go with my health. So I want you to take charge of your health because it's the answer to the healthcare crisis. So welcome back to those that are coming back. For first timers, I'm really glad you're here. Stick around. I hope all of you will take an opportunity to read the description in today's YouTube video. It's got a lot of stuff in there that we're going to be covering today. But for newcomers, if you want to know how to get a hold of me and learn more about me, click on one of these QR codes and reach out. And I'm glad you're with us. I just hope you learned something. So as I said, today's title is Fix One Thing. Fix one thing. So you're over 40 and think it's too late to feel better, move better, and live younger. Let me stop you right here. I'll be 81 in May. I had a heart attack with nothing wrong with me at age 63, 18 years ago. And I learned something most of people miss. You can't fix your whole life at once. And that's why we fail. We try to do that. You need to fix one thing at a time. Yes, one thing at a time. And we're going to talk about that today. But before we do that, I want to show you my little bit of my life, because as Coach Roger, you live younger, longer health coach, and how I got here and branded myself as this, and why I'm here, wanting to help you, guide you into making one simple change at a time. Just a proof. This is where I was in my 40s. My daughter sent me this picture and said, "Thanks, Dad, for choosing health." Well, this is where I was in my 40s, and I'm a little thicker in the middle than I was. My poor old skinny legs. There's nothing I'm going to do with them. But I was a contractor at the time. Had survived Jimmy Carter with a huge debt, $250,000 out there on 2 spec houses. And while Jimmy Carter's interest rate went in 22, 23%. It was insane. But my wife and I and the kids, we survived it all. Then in my 60s, this was the year after my heart attack. A little bit of a change, huh? You see that middle? Like I said, the heart attack was in 2008. This picture was over at NC State in 2009. And I was sitting there. I think I was a little bit tired. But you can see that middle and what have you. And I said something to my heart doctor one day about that being my hereditary fat pattern. And he just kind of poked my belly and said, "Oh, no, that's too many biscuits." And I kind of had to agree with him. But this was after being in the contracting business and going out of business and a few things, a lot of stress. And now here I am in my 70s. And this was taken at a Juice Plus conference. I was speaking at Dr. Sears Wellness Institute meeting that day, and you can see quite a difference. So what I'm trying to show you here is that it's not over after 40. But so many of us think, man, when we turn 40, we're ancient. Well, at 240, we're just getting started. But you can't change things overnight. Yeah, I smoked back in my 20s. Really stupid. I started exercising when I was in my late 20s. And in essence, that saved my life. I think if you've been watching, you understand that saved my life when I had my heart attack. But let's explore this a little bit. Let's explore this. What do people think of when they think of health? They think diets, gyms, doctors, and extremes. Well, in last week we talked about exercise, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. And you don't have to do two extremes. You don't have to go out and buy $1,000 bicycle and for the guys in those fancy stretch pants and so forth. Get out and walk. That is probably the simplest way of doing it, and a good place to start. If you're living in a new neighborhood, you probably got a nice sidewalk. It's crazy. Last week we talked about exercise being the number one thing into prevention of cardiovascular disease. I'm just going to talk about, instead of heart attacks and heart disease, I'm just going to call it CVD from here out. So in last week's message, I said, I think I'm going to look that up. Well, sure enough, I did. And the first thing I pulled up, I just went, what's the number one exercise to do? Or what's the number one thing to do for the prevention of chronic disease? And it came back, regular exercise. And regular exercise isn't some kind of routine that you can do this, that, every day. It's getting movement, just 150 minutes a week. You know, if you're in an inside job, figure out how to do that. A lot of times, maybe your employer has things to do, but instead of stopping at the mailbox, if you have a driveway that's 100 feet long, instead of stopping at the mailbox, like my neighbor does on his 50-foot driveway to get the mail, drives me crazy. Just move. Go out and work in the yard. Find something fun. You go out and play with the kids. So Googling confirmed that was it. Another piece of good news, really, that I came across too, because my heart doctor told me this, is you can actually be reversing some of the damage you've done to your cardiovascular system. Yes, hear that again. You can reverse it. My doctor told me that, and that was one of the second things I looked up on Google, and there it is. Yes, you can. And the other thing when I Googled it is, you know, why work with a coach? Because there is so much information out there. Well, you can read that stuff and read that stuff and read that stuff, but hopefully what I showed you in those pictures helps you understand that you can do this. It's going to take some time. If you're 40, how long did it take you to get to 40? 40 years. Man, yeah, how long did it take me to get to 80? 40 more years. And you know something? I felt a heck of a lot better after that heart attack and after skiing. And in fact, you saw my picture in my 70s. I don't think I'm doing too bad in my 80s. And people just go, like, I bake sourdough bread and take it to people. And they go, what, who you did this? Yeah. Why? I said, I'm having fun. I remember in a networking group several years ago when I was business development manager for a commercial roofing company. I'm sitting at a breakfast over in city of High Point. And this gentleman sitting next to me, his hair was a lot grayer than even mine is right now. And the ladies were all fussing over him. I think his name was Van something. And they had baked him a special pound cake for his birthday. And I looked at him and I said, so how old are you? Because I was one of the seniors in the group, and maybe one of two. He was the other one. And he goes, oh, let me see here. He goes, what's 2 times 41? He was 82 years old, retired from the sheriff's department, selling commercial real estate. So, folks, it isn't about numbers and how old you are. How old you are is in here and in here in your heart. And that's what I'm trying to get through to you. And that's why I want to come alongside you, and we'll figure out, you know, what do you want to do? We'll just talk and figure out what a path to take. And I do want to tell you too, after my heart attack, I didn't go back to Colorado skiing the next year. I went the year after, in 2010. And Didn't have a heart attack. Had a good time skiing, and I can honestly say I haven't been back since. But since then, I've had a hip replacement and what have you. So that's what it's about. But what I did over time was to do that one change at a time, drinking more water. And again, over the course of my heart attack and what led me to becoming your live younger, longer health coach was the plant powders of fruits and vegetables. And that did change the way my body wanted nutrition. And if, just let's say 5 years ago, if I would tell you that a 3-ounce splitting a 6 or 8 ounce filet mignon with my wife for dinner and a quarter of a sweet potato and some broccoli, that I would eat that, I'd say you were nuts. But that's how you change. And if you did get into bad health, and maybe your middle's a little too big, you got a little too much arthritis, too much inflammation, you didn't get there overnight. You didn't get there overnight. So you don't go back to feeling better overnight either. So I say we just want to do one habit at a time, look at one excuse at a time. You got my wife has more trouble with my friend willpower than I do, but we both have to fight it. But if you consciously eat better and consciously move and keep your head and your heart right, things will be better. The way back isn't dramatic. I think that's what I'm trying to get to you, get emphasize here, is that the way back isn't dramatic, but it is intentional. You didn't intend to feel bad. If that's the reason you're here, which I think that is the reason you're here, and trying to figure out how to fix one thing, and going in your head, well, fixing one thing isn't going to do it. Well, right, fixing one thing isn't going to do it. But you fix one thing and get in that habit, then let's go on to something else. At my age, I don't chase perfection. I'm chasing progress. And I'm still a work in progress, and I fail, and I feel like heck, and then I do better the next day. But I can't tell you how many times I have talked myself out of getting that ham biscuit or that sausage biscuit, when I'm a little bit hungry out on the road, because that's was habits from being a contractor, being on the road. For those of you that are on the road, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You got your stops. Oh man, I had Panera Breads all over the Triad, where I would have meeting with customers and clients. So with that, I just want you to really consider fixing one thing and letting me help you fix one thing at a time. We'll figure out what that one thing is when we talk, but I can't really help you if we never talk. So please, these are the outcomes you can expect. You can expect to learn about your body healing itself and how to feed it to heal itself. And you can turn daily habits into longevity tools. And really what you're doing there is making health your hobby. You reduce your middle. It is important. This middle, our waistline is not down here where our belt is. Our waistline, this is my navel. Our waistline is right here. And that's the point that is critical. And that's one of the first indications to a doctor of your health. Things like type 2 diabetes can be reversed or prevented. Lots of things can. High blood pressure. There's lots of foods we can talk about that reduce things naturally. It's a way to go. And when you cut out, I don't know how it's possible to completely stop, having processed food. But when you look at a label and it's got more than 10 ingredients, you probably should put it back on the shelf. There was something on the shelf the other day in the grocery store, and I picked it up and read it, and I'm going, why do people buy this stuff? I really don't understand it. Best thing, you want something to drink? Drink some water. Water's key as well. And another thing that'll help you learn too is the pills and skills method, where instead of saying, Doc, what can I take because of the diagnosis you've got? What can I do to prevent that? So allow me to help you reach some of these outcomes. Please subscribe and comment. Comment with what you'd like to change, or comment with what you want to learn. I'm here to dig out information, and you can Google this stuff and you can get more information you possibly want to do. But I want you to know why do people have coaches? Why do the professional golfers have coaches? Why do coaches have coaches? I mean, I have paid coaches a lot to learn about being a coach and helping you. And I do add value to your life, and I am a powerful listener. It's taken me a long time to be quiet and listen, but I want to know what you want so I can give you some ideas of how to help you. So please subscribe. Please subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Comment what you'd like to know about, and let's talk. So here's one final thought for you. Getting older is automatic. You want to get older, because if you don't get older, you know what you are. Living younger is intentional. And as I've said, I never get tired of people thinking I'm 65 instead of 80. And no matter your age, even at almost 81 like me, improvement is still possible. And I can see that improvement sometimes when I've overindulged the next day and don't sleep well, feel like crap, and you straighten it out. So with that, and just remember the famous quote by Hippocrates, the gentleman that did the Hippocratic Oath: let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. And I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you'll really consider fixing one thing and letting me help you do that. So thanks again. God bless. See you next week.